Guys, one of the messages from the previous administration that I feel really hit home with people, particularly in the Midwest, right, in the Rust Belt, was about how a lot of our jobs have been shipped overseas because of these trade agreements that are not necessarily fair to the American worker. They're good for big corporations, they're good for globalism, but they're not good for the average working class American, okay? Now, the politicians try to justify this and say, well, it's better for the economy overall. It's better for America overall. But the cost of it is that a lot of people lose their jobs. A lot of these factory towns lose their sources of industry. They end up having to abandon these towns. They now become ghost towns. I remember going near Niagara Falls, up in upstate New York and around that area. And I remember some of these old towns that used to be these factory towns that just look like ghost towns that back in the day, you know, were big in steel manufacturing. And that it's just a ghost town now. Used to be a thriving community. Okay. And this is happening across not just the Midwest, but also rural America as well. Okay. The town, little small one stoplight town I grew up in, used to have plenty of businesses. But now those businesses have been taken away. Either the jobs have been transferred overseas or they've been taken by multinational corporations. So when somebody comes along and gives a message of jobs, bringing jobs back to America, being mindful of job loss in certain regions of the country, I think that that's a very powerful message that, you know, a lot of people are going to resonate with. And I think one problem with the Democrats is that they don't really seem to care. Okay, they're so stuck on this. We need to move forward with fighting climate change. We need to invest in renewables. We need to invest in green. They don't care about the people that they're going to end up hurting, right, in the long run or even in the short run because of their obsession with trying to create green and renewable energy. Now, we know Joe Biden has canceled the Keystone XL pipeline, which, you know, that some people have said it's going to cost tens of thousands of jobs. Now, from what I was reading, it's definitely going to cost at least 1,000 jobs and at least 10,000 future jobs. And those people are upset, obviously, because they're losing their livelihoods. Those are 10,000 jobs that wouldn't have been created. Also, Canada is upset as well, right? Because they saw the Keystone pipeline as a way for them to more efficiently transport energy and to help them out. Okay, so Joe Biden early on is kind of making some enemies here, and John Kerry is asked specifically about the job loss that's going to result from canceling certain projects like the Keystone XL pipeline in the name of the environment. What does he have to say to those workers? And essentially the answer that he gives is basically the same thing when they tell, you know, the steel worker or the truck driver that, you know, may be losing his job because of automation, learn the code. Except this time what he says is get a job in a renewable energy field. And I just think this is just very, very, very dismissive and just not helpful. So let's take a listen.
Watching you both right now, who will hear the message that the takeaway to them is that they are seeing an end to their livelihoods. What do you say to them, particularly those people who President Trump struck a chord with on the campaign trail when he promised to save their jobs? What is your message to them right now? And also to the oil industry executives who are listening, are you putting them on notice today?
Well, we didn't come here to put anybody on notice except to the seriousness of President Biden's intent to do what needs to be done to deal with this crisis, and it is a crisis. With respect to those workers, no two people are more in this room are more concerned about it, and the President of the United States has expressed in every comment he has made about climate the need to grow the new jobs that pay better, that are cleaner. That, I mean, you know, you look at the consequences of black lung for a miner, for instance, and measure that against the fastest growing job in the United States before COVID was solar power technician. The same people can do those jobs, but the choice of doing the solar power one now is a better choice. Similarly, You have the second fastest growing job pre-COVID was wind turbine technician. This is happening. 75%, 70% of all the electricity that's come online in the United States in the last few years came from renewables. Not, coal plants have been closing over the last 20 years. So what President Biden wants to do is make sure those folks have better choices, that they have alternatives, that they can be the people who go to work to make the solar panels.
See, that's what he's saying. It's the same thing when people tell the truck driver or the person that got laid off, go learn the code. Okay? And I'm not even saying that's necessarily bad advice. It's because, coding is a skill that probably everybody should know. It's something that should be taught in school. But you can't tell somebody that's been in the industry for 40, 50 years, hey, go get a job somewhere else. Right? Like, my question to John Kerry is that, did the Biden administration at least guarantee these people that they laid off before they laid them off that, hey, we're going to take care of you, we're going to take care of your family, and we're going to get you a job in a new industry. If you have to relocate, we'll pay for your relocation. We'll help you relocate, okay, to get you this new job. Because I guarantee you, these people just got laid off, and they're just going to get unemployment, and they're going to have to find a new job. We don't even know if the renewable jobs are going to be in the same area, okay? Are those jobs actually going to be in the same area that these people are at? Because it's one thing to say, no, we need to get these people jobs in a different industry. But is that industry there? Okay, because the solar industry, from what my knowledge is in the Southwest, right? It's big in my state, North Carolina as well, Texas, particularly places where there's a lot of sunshine. Okay, I'm not sure if the solar industry is big in North Dakota, right, or Montana. Not sure. Or Canada, right? But, somebody can correct me if I'm wrong. I'm just saying, this type of attitude is just so dismissive of the workers. And this is what, the last administration, President Trump, what he hit on so well is that he was cognizant of the loss and the pain that people suffered from losing their jobs. Okay? It's one thing for you as a career bureaucrat to sit up here and tell somebody, oh yeah, go get another job, because you will always be guaranteed a job. John Kerry will always be guaranteed a job. But it's another thing to tell somebody that's been working in the coal industry all their life, hey, you got to go learn how to code, bruh. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's just, it's just very dismissive. Okay? Almost like this guy has no clue what it's like to try to get a job. He probably doesn't, right? He's a career bureaucrat. And it just shows how disconnected these politicians are from the mainstream and the common everyday worker that the Biden administration is just really missing out on at this point. So let's finish the rest of this.
We're making them here at home. That is going to be a particular focus of the Build Back Better agenda. And I think that unfortunately workers have been fed a false narrative. No surprise, right? For the last few years, they've been fed the notion that somehow dealing with climate is coming at their expense. No, it's not.
You know what else is a false notion, though? Is that building solar panels and that so-called clean energy is 100% clean. Okay? We already know that there are going to be issues with solar panels in the next 40 to 50 years because they are not very recyclable. Okay? We already know this. Matter of fact, this is something that the International Renewable Energy Agency in 2016 estimated there are about 250,000 metric tons of solar panel waste in the world at the end of that year. IRENA projected that this amount could reach 78 million metric tons by 2050. Solar panels often contain lead, cadmium, and other toxic chemicals that cannot be removed without breaking apart the entire panel. Approximately 90% of PV models are made up of glass, notes San Jose State Environmental Studies Professor Dustin Mavoni. However, this glass often cannot be recycled as float glass due to impurities. Common problematic impurities in glass include plastic, lead, cadmium, and antimony. Researchers with the Electric Power Research Institute undertook a study for U.S. solar-owning utilities to plan for the end of life and concluded that the solar panel disposal in regular landfills is not recommended, in case modules break and toxic materials leach into the soil, and so disposal is potentially a major issue. Okay? So the narrative that investing in renewable energy, which I'm not against. I'm always for creating new industries. I'm for investing in renewable energy. I'm for investing in clean energy. I'm for that. Particularly, I think nuclear is something that's we really should try to focus on. Clear. But to try to act like there's no downsides to it, that is all up, I think is really a false narrative that comes from the left that is really not telling the whole story in terms of what the potential environmental costs are in regards to this so-called green energy / clean energy revolution. So, you want to talk about pushing false narratives. I mean, Democrats push false narratives on this stuff all the time.
What's happening to them is happening because of other market forces already taking place. And what the financiers, the big banks, the asset managers, private investors, venture capital are all discovering is there's a lot of money to be made in the creation of these new jobs in these sectors. So whether it's green hydrogen that is going to come, whether it is geothermal heat, or whatever it's going to be, those are jobs. The same worker who works in South Carolina today putting together a BMW, which happens to be made there, and is currently an internal combustion engine, can put together a car, but it's electric. So this is not a choice between having jobs, having good jobs, having the quality.
Yeah, but see, it is a choice between where all those jobs are going to be located, okay? And are you taking care of those workers that you're laying off temporarily because you are canceling government contracts? That's my only problem. My problem is, okay, I get it. If you don't want to go forward with the Keystone XL pipeline, I'm not necessarily here nor there about that, honestly. But if you're going to get rid of jobs, at the very least, compensate those people outside of just unemployment. Help them get those jobs that you're talking about that you're going to create, okay? Because if those jobs are not going to be in the same area, right, or you're not going to help them relocate and get one of those high-paying jobs that you brag about, then you screw those people over. And an acceptable answer to that is not, oh, well, just get a new job. Just learn the code. It's not acceptable. People are not going to accept that, right? And I just think that this answer is just so dismissive, right, of the common man, the people that get laid off, the people that get screwed over, that, stuff like this is the reason why the Biden administration is not doing particularly well with conservatives, because their message is so dismissive of those who are not a part of the elite. So let me know what you guys think. Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. Most importantly, share a Black conservative perspective. Peace.